I've got to get out of here tonight, so I better behave myself.
There is a provincial election eventually coming. You might have to campaign for Enfield now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Pat Healy's jurisdiction. Want to welcome Pat Healy back. He was in Prince Edward Island last week.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was vacationing. Dylan Langel's vacationing this week. Denver Matchett's vacationing this week. Denver's taking a 2-week break, though.
Some of us don't get the vacation.
Some of us don't get vacation. Yeah. I haven't had a vacation in 15 years in the summer.
I never have a vacation.
But
this is my vacation.
This is home. This
is home.
I wouldn't want to spend any other Friday night anywhere else.
That's right.
But yeah, so Brittany, Denver's on vacation. He's on vacation for 2 weeks. What are they doing for 2 weeks?
Staying away from you.
Pretty well told that story, didn't it?
Well, that there was special. Welcome into Tim's Corner Live, episode number 25. I said before we have fun on Friday nights at Scotia Speed World, and that's one of the little clips as to why that, and that's also why we don't let Brittany have a microphone anytime we're around a booth. Tim Terry, Denver Match at Dylan Langell with you. Got some big news. I was told about 20 minutes ago we can announce it, so we will announce it here in just a bit. But before we get to that, boys, you were on vacation this week. First, Dylan, where did you go?
I went to the island, which we're having a lot of talent on the show tonight. Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. Didn't go to the racetrack, drove past Scotia Speed World during the Pro Stock race. I was tempted to tell Chantel, hey, can you hook in a little right so we can go check out the race? But no, went to the west side of the island, went to Inverness and Mabou and Cheticamp. Good time, but driving past Scotia on Saturday afternoon, maybe missed the track, and looking forward to this weekend being at Scotia and Riverside on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend. We'll talk about Riverside with our first guest here in just a moment. But Denver, as we saw off the clip or heard off the clip, you guys were in Miramichi this weekend?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was as much as a vacation, more so just an off weekend. So went to Miramichi, didn't go to a track for once, although I got a message from Barry Saturday night that, said maybe I would want to go up to the track because there was something pretty cool going on, but we'll keep that quiet for now. But yeah, it was a nice weekend away from the track, but by the end of the weekend, I was kind of itching to get back to a track. So we'll see where the road goes this weekend.
So skipping rocks into Lake Barry is what he was doing, right? Has the lake subsided yet from last weekend?
I think the lake has subsided. By Sunday, when I got there, it was the day after the race, it was down quite a bit. But the drain can only handle so much water, and Elsa is apparently a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. Is there a mark still in the back straightaway wall right about halfway down?
Absolutely. The wall might be broken. I don't know.
It took a little bit of a lick. if she didn't break it, I'm sure somebody will. But coming up on the show, we got Kody Quinn coming up here in a bit. Looking over my other shoulder to see what we have. And we have Shawn Waterfield coming up here in just a moment. He'll be at Riverside for the, I believe, Dylan, correct me if I'm wrong, Henry's Auto Pro 75?
You got her, friend.
And there we go. Henry's Auto Pro 75. We want to tell you as well, if you missed the Riverside International Speedway release earlier, we will be live with live video from Tim's Corner TV at Riverside coming up on Saturday. I've got to come up and do some testing at Riverside tomorrow, and apparently rain, but if it gets the rain out Thursday and we don't have any on the weekend, I'm fine with that. So we'll be with that as well. So, and I'm being told we're going to be joined by another guest here in about 10 minutes or so. So this, and Paul Strickland's going to love this. This is going to be the fly by the seat of our pants show tonight. So we will make the announcement. Actually, let's wait for 10 minutes and see if our guest shows up. How about that? Let's wait for 10 minutes and see if our guest shows up. But we'll roll with Shawn Waterfield first, driver of the number 23 car. He runs in the NAPA Sportsman Series. He runs at Sydney Speedway, his home track. He runs at Riverside International Speedway. Does some stuff at Petty Raceway, all those other racetracks. We're going to welcome into the show the driver of the number 23, Shawn Waterfield, and change the videos all around. And I think we're good to go. Shawn, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
This is going to be fun this weekend. Riverside International Speedway. We haven't been on the racetrack since last September. Are you ready to get back to the high banks?
Yes, absolutely. It's our premier track, and it's not a secret that everybody wants to be there.
So getting ready for this 2021 season, how has the winter been for you getting ready with the 23 car?
Well, we have plans with that new chassis. With COVID, everything going on, we changed direction, went back to the original 23 chassis, and mainly Dave Dyer spent a long, aching winter tearing it down, rebuilding it. So we actually tested it today. As a matter of fact, that's why I'm still in the truck. Just put the car back into the garage, and the car felt good. And like the new look. I think I like it. Everyone seems to like it, so hopefully it's fast.
Absolutely. We are live and interactive with Shawn Waterfield, driver of the number 23. Got some big news coming up in just a few moments' time. Drop us a question, drop us a comment, and we'll get them on the air here this evening with Shawn. And testing out at the home racetrack, the lower, tighter bull ring compared to the high banks. What can you learn to shake the car down for a beast like Riverside?
Yeah, well, the main thing you want to do in testing is obviously make sure all your common, your braking is there, of course. Your carburetor fueling and all that is steady and consistent. And that it feels good. It feels like it's turning good. Obviously, when you add bank, more speed, that could change. But hopefully, we're going to come to Riverside with something we can work with and tune up, come to the 75, the Henry Auto Pro 75.
It's the first race of the season at Riverside. How do you prepare? You've been down this road before. Some of those NAPA Sportsman races can go one way or the other. It's almost like the Pro Stock Tour where you can have a first race that's rough and tumble and it feels like we're there for 5 hours, or we blitz all 75 laps in about 10 minutes. So what's your mindset going into Saturday? What do you think the fans are going to see when we get to Riverside?
We all excited to be back. The high banks with us. Without the fans, they matter the most in a sense. So we hope to put on a really good show, something that shows them that we're doing what we love, showing them what they love, and keeping the car together. And I mean, it's a short track. It's a short race. So we've seen these races we've seen 50 lap races be 3 hours. So hopefully it's everybody has their mind, their patience, and we just get around and finish up on the same wheels that we pulled it out of the trailer with.
The great thing about Riverside is we kind of have a melting pot of drivers from the province of Nova Scotia. And sometimes we have those visiting drivers from outside, but you get those Scotia Speed World drivers, you get those Sydney Speedway drivers, you get drivers that call Riverside International Speedway home. How cool is it to kind of have that melting pot of competition when we roll into Riverside?
Oh, I love it. Without competition, it's not nearly as fun. We race against a lot of great guys from, all the Atlantic provinces, and that's what makes, we're all competitive, and, you don't want nothing handed to you. You want to work for it, and Riverside definitely makes you work for it with all the talent that comes from all the other places.
We are live and interactive here this evening. Be sure to drop us a comment for Shawn Waterfield, and we'll get it on the show. Shawn, you have a rich history in this sport. How did you get your start in racing?
Actually, back at when Sydney Speedway was Island Speedway, owned by Stan Dix, just a group of friends. They, Thundercar did this back in, I believe it was 97, and then rolled into street stocks like a year later. Just felt that I liked it enough to move up. So we went to street stock racing there back, I believe it was 98, 99. And then the number 23 came out because I was a Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace fan back in the day. That's where the number came from. And from there on in, just kept rolling into loving it more and more and start spending more and more. So then finally had the opportunity to get into late model Sportsman, and, took some of the toys away. I had, nice little sports cars, some bikes and skidoos, but racing meant more to me than that. So that's what I sacrificed to get the sport even, deeper into it. So I realized very quickly, though, after running some, many years in street stocks, that you have to change yourself a little bit as you upgrade into the late model sportsmen.
And we're showing some highlights right now on the screen, I believe, the Thanksgiving Thunder from a couple of seasons ago. I want to ask you about the Sportsman Championship back in, I think it was 16. That was the time where Bill and Lynn had both racetracks, ran at Riverside and ran at Sydney. How cool was it to be a part of that deal and come out on top as a champion?
Obviously, as the word goes, it was a dream come true. You work all your time into trying to make this happen, and with a great team behind me, it finally did happen, and all the stars aligned. We were bouncing back track to track, and we just stayed consistent through that year, and that's what made the biggest difference. Like, the luck was on our side. The crew didn't stop, so it paid off in the end.
And you had some really strong competition at Riverside International Speedway that year, and the big numbers at those IWK 250 weekends and those big weekends. And the numbers kind of dwindled at Sydney, but it seems like every time we go to Sydney, the competition, the numbers might be small, but the competition is pretty stacked. For those that have never been to Sydney Speedway to see a sportsman race, when we get in deeper into the season and the announcement we've got coming up, what can they expect when they haul to Sydney? If they're a driver, a competitor, or a fan, what they're going to see with late model action at Sydney?
Well, it's called the Bull Ring for a reason. It definitely takes toll on anybody that hasn't been there. But we tell people, even guys that race there for so many years, we tell them not to get discouraged. We've always offered, Ronnie included, we'll give you like an off setup to try and start and work off of. And it's a fun, hard little track. And the one thing that you have to keep in mind, it's not a fast track like Riverside. It's a driving track. You just have to. You don't get to be as fast and come out of the turn the way you think you want to. You just have to be patient, and you end up finding a setup that usually works. And luckily enough, back in 16, especially, we found a setup that really worked, and we managed to win it, quite a few races to help the points stay tight. And the guys, especially the local guys, like we've had a lot of guys and fans say that some of the Sydney races with the Sportsmen have been some of the best races they've seen in the Maritimes because it's such a small track. It generally stays tight. It's not really a fan out track. You're usually, there's usually some good door to door. And memory serves me, even when I think I ended up bumped out of the race, there's only 3 of them racing: Ronnie, Chris, and Lyndon. And the 3 of them raced door to door for basically the entire race. And that was, it just showed that racetrack is fun and very exciting as well.
We've seen some really good races up there. I think it was the 15 or the 16 finale that I went up for, and there was 25 laps of you guys under a blanket, and not even wavering. It's great racing. The competition is great. I'm going to bring Dylan Langell in because Dylan, I know you got to see your first racing at Sydney last year. What were your first thoughts of the bull ring?
Oh, it was so fun. And Shawn, it was great to see you and Ryan and Ronnie just put on a show. And what Tim was saying, even with the handful of cars on track, I mean, that was probably one of my funnest races to announce with Tim and even just to watch as a fan. I love Sydney. I love that track. And the cool thing with the Maritimes too is almost every track is unique. We've got the big high bank track at Riverside. We've got kind of a flatter track in Scotia Speed World. Then we got the straight up bull ring in Sydney.
Yeah.
Shawn, that weekend we ran almost a year ago, actually. I think it was during the IWK 250 weekend last year. No fans in the stands except for a handful of hometown crew in the back of their pickup trucks. How was that Sportsman race with Ronnie and Ryan and no fans in the stands?
As you watch it on TV with NASCAR doing the same thing, and it's kind of a funny eerie feeling. Like, it's not the same with no fans. Don't get me wrong. Like, fans mean everything to most sports, and but it was good to make it happen with what we had to work with. We knew the policies and procedures that we had to deal with, and they still pulled off a way to make us do what we love, got us on the track, made it happen, and to still be able to put a show on for video cameras and a handful of people that got to go there, it was pretty exciting. And those 2 guys, obviously, Ronnie being on the pit crew for 10 years and then racing against him, it's a lot of fun.
And you were in the catbird seat when Ryan Van Orscott was all over the back of Ronnie for like 5 laps in a row, and then he finally dove into turn 3, gave him a little boot scoot. Ronnie was able to keep it off the wall. I mean, your teammates, essentially, what are you thinking when you're seeing a team car almost getting bumped out of the way and having to really get a hold of it in the turn?
Well, obviously, you try not to look in the mirror, but with a teammate behind you, obviously, you keep an eye over there just to make sure everything's going good. But in the long run, you
Tim?
Yeah. Okay.
We're still rocking and rolling, right?
Yeah, I think we're still rocking and rolling here. I'm trying to get 2 different things at once. Paul, I'm going to get you to pull up that B-roll one more time of Shawn's car, because we're going to have some breaking news here, Shawn. I'm going to leave you on.
Yeah.
But as soon as Paul gets the B-roll up here, I can switch back and forth. There we go. We love OBS. We had problems OBS Friday night when it came to Scotia Speed World. There it is. So we are going to do this. We are going to have a special guest join us. Shawn, stick with us. We are joined, are going to be joined by Greg Dow, and we've got a special announcement to make about Sydney Speedway. And Greg, welcome in. Glad to have you along.
Hello.
Hello, you got us.
Yes.
Perfect. What are we announcing tonight?
That there's been a sale of the Sydney Speedway.
So there is a new owner.
Yes, new owners.
New owners. Do you want me to introduce them, or should you?
You can do it if you wish.
So the new owners of Sydney Speedway are Lyndon McDougall. Everybody knows Lyndon from driving the number 18 late model Sportsman. You know, he's won a bunch of mini stock races, won a bunch of sportsman races. Guy can wheel a race car. And Kyle McKinnon from Kyle's Paving. Two great businessmen who know a thing or two about racing, know a thing or two about the racetrack. And Greg, I think when we kind of chatted back and forth a little bit earlier on, the thing is staying local and it's staying a racetrack, which I think is the biggest thing about this whole announcement coming out tonight.
100%. I mean, I had been approached by a few people over the winter season, which caught me off guard. Everything we're going through with COVID and whatnot. You know, wasn't looking to ever shut the track down. I would have stayed as long as it would have took to keep progressing the track. I was having some difficulties with the 4.5 hour commute. COVID keeping me away at times where I couldn't even travel outside of my bubble. So that slowed down production this year and everything going on. So, you know, once people approached me and, you know, look, being local and what they could do and continue on from where we left off. It wasn't a closed track like it was previously when I picked it up. I think what we done over the winter, we showed that we can hit from different angles. And then again, by some of these new classes we're getting and, you know, making it right for the island. And I think that's what needs to be done over there. And if they can build on a couple of those classes and, you know, and the Sportsman, again, getting those back around and some of the other classes, I think, you know, it's going to be a huge success over there. And, you know, that means a little bit to me. And so, you know, it seemed like a right fit. I thought 2 years ago when we did this thing and I purchased it, that my life would be less hectic. I thought my role in my companies would be a little less, but in a positive way, we're probably 30 to 40% busier than what we've ever been. You know, the companies have grown, and now my role is still here. So it makes it a little difficult. 2 children racing as I've always had. And, you know, a few more years of watching them, I said, you know, it's probably best for me to enjoy this while I can. A few races at Sydney, I was chipping my head cut off. I didn't always get to enjoy the racing. And I said, you know, I enjoy the racing. So I want to still see it from this side for a minute yet. So it made sense for me to say, you know, to do what I did.
For those that are just joining us, we're joined by Greg Dow announcing the sale of Sydney Speedway. We're live and interactive here this evening. Drop us a question or a comment and join in on the conversation. Greg, going into racetrack ownership and looking back at it 2 years ago now, what's the biggest thing you're going to take away from this?
There's a lot of moving parts. I mean, from people like yourself to your tech and to, you know, right down to porta potties to all the different, you know, it's like putting a full production on, no different than having a concert. You need a lot of people in a lot of places. And luckily for me, there was a lot of staff that had worked there previously, you know, that Jamie Peach, different ones like this that stepped in and helped me and, you know, and right through to people that helped me with the scoring. We put in a new, you know, transponders, there's learning curves. You know, I've learned a lot, you know, it was definitely, it was fun, you know, I mean, it was, you know, I got to meet a lot of people. I didn't know a lot of faces outside of the Bando and Legends. And now, you know, many more people know my name than I know theirs, but I'm starting to, you know, meet some new people and interacting with it. And, you know, it's neat. It's neat. Well,
so with this moving forward, obviously Lyndon and Kyle have been involved in the racing scene. They've been involved in the business side of things. What's the biggest thing you're looking forward to seeing this Speedway move forward in the next couple of years?
No, just the improvements they've talked about, and I'll let them share that with everyone. We've talked about things. I plan to be in the background for some point. I'm going to be, you know, what knowledge I can give them. Yes, I haven't been an owner for long, but, you know, I did have a laid out list of things I wanted to accomplish, and some of the things we did, I think we're working. So I'm there to be a sounding board when need be. And, you know, I think that's, I think they're going to do some good things. I mean, some of the things they've said, I think is going to really make people go, wow. I mean, they're both construction guys, you know, from carpentry to paving to you know, they do all that kind of work. So there's nothing they need to hire out for. That's going to be a thing. No different than I was when I bought it. I just forgot about how far away it was for me. and my staff is busy. So I couldn't always just grab staff and leisurely go over like I thought I could. We were just slam busy. So that would be their advantage. If the track had been 1 to 2 hours away, the conversation wouldn't have been had because I could have focused harder on it and got a lot more done. But running a 24-hour business with multiple amount of employees we have just wasn't as easy to take off. And I have a love for the Caribbean. I've been doing house renovations and building down there for years, and I got thinking once they came to me, I said, COVID's kept me away. When the skies open up, am I going to Sydney or I'm going to the DR? So I got thinking, hey, I want to start traveling again too. And you can only split up that pizza in so many slices, right?
I know a thing or two about pizza. I can tell you that one for sure. Shawn, I know Shawn is still on the call. We kind of talked about this before we came on air. Shawn, as a driver, what's your reaction of everything going
on? It's great news, really. Like Greg had mentioned, you have two guys that know the sport. Lyndon more current than Kyle, obviously, and two guys that have multiple talents in carpentry, heavy machinery, paving, like all the things that's gonna, what Greg knew the track needs. Now you have two guys in the city able to do that, and they're only 10 minutes away from it.
I think it's a great announcement all around about everything going on and everything happening. And Denver, you've been quiet all night long. I'm going to bring you in on this. What is your take on everything that's been going on?
Well, Tim, I'm getting a sense of deja vu here because it was, I think, 6 years ago yesterday that the announcement was made that Barry Richard had purchased Speedway Miramichi from Jason Carnahan. And I think a very similar situation, Jason very busy, multiple businesses, lots of stuff he wanted to do, and maybe just didn't have the time to do it. And he passed the torch on to a local. Barry has been able to put, his everything into the track. So I think a very similar situation. And that's exciting for the folks in Sydney. That's like everyone said, it's a really great track. It's a track, I was supposed to get down there last year, didn't get to make the trip with the cancellations and stuff and restrictions, but one of the tracks on my bucket list to go see. And I really think that this will set that track up, for the long run, for a great future as they keep building. Things don't happen overnight. Everyone's alluded to that, but I think they're really in a great spot to keep building upon what Greg and his crew have started, and they have a really great starting point, to say the least.
So, Greg, for those that don't know, you've got a busy shop there, race shop. Let's talk first, and you've got Brooke racing a Bando. You've got a couple of legend cars in there. You've got Dylan racing the weekly racing series in Halifax every Friday night. The Sportsman car came out for the Shriners Classic. I know Brian Northrop's chomping at the bit to get at Riverside on Saturday with the Heart of a Champion Hot Rod Classics. How busy is your race shop right now?
Busy, but I said first two outings with Brooke, 2 heats and 2 features. I said she's got a new best friend, the tow truck driver. So that doesn't reflect well on me. And I've been given notice that, and it was good timing to sell the track, because if I don't pull up my socks at the racetrack with Brooke and keep the 4 wheels on that car, I might be looking for a new team to work with. So I got Braden Lanzo Motorsports doing the deal with Dylan, and he's keeping the 4 wheels on that car. So you might see Brooks' car have to slide over to that trailer here soon if I soon don't get my ship righted here. So no, in the Sportsman, we're evaluating that with these short seasons. We jumped on board and helped Brian out to get him back. Years and years of helping me was only the right thing to do, and we're on that car and we plan to be. And he was over to my shop tonight, and we were hooking him up with a new truck and trailer so he can make the journey to every race. And it's nice to see him back out there. He's one of those faces, one of those guys you need to see at the track, and he's got a hell of a beautiful car. So in some of our role, people will see us more in a lot different tracks. We're looking to get Kody up to Miramichi because we gotta knock someone off a podium up there and see if we can steal a win up there. So that is on our list. So you'll see the 88 up there, and we're going to get Kody in a few more starts in the Legend again, and see what we can do there and help him out a little bit. And that's where I want to see it. That's where the fun is for me. To hit a few more different tracks I haven't been at, and maybe make it down to Lake 27. Definitely make it up to Miramichi. I'd like to get back to PEI, and that kind of thing. So we'll be a little more around, and definitely Sydney's on our list every time they have an event we can do. We still got our 6-cylinder car that's got to make some debuts over there. So.
It sounds like it's going to be a busy season for you. We'll remind everybody we're live and interactive. Drop us a question or a comment, and whether it's for Shawn Waterfield, who's still with us, Greg Dow. We've got, I think, Kody Quinn coming up at some point this evening too, and we're trying to get Lyndon McDougall on the call as well to chat with Lyndon. But I guess he's a little shy or something, Greg, from what I was told.
Well, yeah, he's gonna have the big hat on here soon when the keys are in his hand. So yeah, no. He's just one of those guys that gets shit done. That's very important. You don't have to be, shaking hands and kissing babies. If you can be in the background getting stuff done, and I think that's kind of two guys you got over there. And as Shawn alluded to, having a guy that knows the Sydney area, knows the businesses, knows the people, he's going to have the advantage over me there and be able to do those things. And he knows all the racers' names. I had to meet everyone, and again, that's an advantage these guys are going to have. And we're going to be there, and they're going to see us, and we're going to do some stuff over there with PPM to help with the track out, and we'll definitely be present.
I know social's been a little bit quiet, Dylan, and surprisingly, because big announcement as the case like this. But do we got anything on social? Do you have any questions for Greg or Shawn?
Nothing yet. So, folks, I mean, don't be shy. I mean, Greg's not shy. He's been running the board here for a few minutes. Greg, you want a demo car to join the PPM family? If you're going to go to Miramichi, how about you how about we get a PPM van going and I'll drive?
There we go.
No, we might have to look at that. We'll have to look at the rules on that class. I've definitely watched a few crazy ones in Sydney, so I probably understand what it's going to be. You're not going to get me in the car. Because you guys are a little a notch above that, I think, up there.
Dylan, you shouldn't be asking Greg to build you a car. You should be asking Donald Campbell.
Yes.
Whoever, we'll haul it around. We'll get the big trailer. Kody can drive the 4-cylinder, beat JR Lawson, and then I'll try and win Dash for cash.
Yeah.
We're gonna get chased out of New Brunswick by the sounds of it.
Yeah. They'll set the border back up. They won't let us through again. Yeah.
So Greg, just to clarify, you're no longer the owner, but are you going to have some sort of hand with the track, maybe in a promotional sense, or assisting Lyndon and Kyle? They need a hand. You're not completely stepping away from Sydney. You're just handing over the keys, essentially.
No, definitely. I'm going to be there to help these guys. I had some ideas that I want, to still run with these guys. I'm going to be try to help with the legends now and the bandos, because I know those people, and see if we can help keep supporting this track. Like I said, I've had a bando for Sydney sale only here for 3 months. It hasn't found a home there yet. I'm going to give it another month to place that car over there before I go to the market and see where else it sells. But hopefully we can get that over there and build on that. That's important to me, to see the legends and the bandos. I mean, it's a hell of a track for those cars. We're going to be behind, and we'll probably throw up some different kind of prize stuff for some of the races, or do some different things like that. I've had a few other tracks asking me, and a few other tours in different divisions, and I've honestly had to decline at this point with them, because I still that's where my heart is a little bit, to still help that track grow. So I got to keep an eye on that for now. Plus, I've got a very active race team myself that we got to keep going round and round. So and again, we want to get to the US and do some more stuff down there. We missed last year. I know Tim's going to be going back down, and we definitely want to do another Daytona deal, Tim, and go see some sights and have some fun.
That was a little too much fun. I think there's some stuff we probably can't tell on the show, but
that's right.
I want to ask you about, because you have the perspective of a racetrack owner, a race team owner. You put the driving suit on from time to time. Let's talk about the health and the future of this sport. Where do you see this sport going in 10 years?
It's hard right now with the COVID. It put us under a whole different deal. I think we're going to be okay when we get out of this. Right now, things are a little bit up in the air. We've seen a low car count at the tour the other day, which is disappointing. I mean, such a great deal they got going on there. So much work behind the scenes for those guys. You see the car count down, but a lot of that plays into it. Tracks can't afford to pony up money to get them to come, and then things start falling apart. And no different than last year. Some of the tour classes couldn't do what they had to do. And I think once we get out of COVID, we're going to be okay. I mean, we can handle six tracks in the Maritimes or 7, and I think it'll work out okay. But we can't have none closed. People got to be really aware of that. It's a tough job. When I seen it from where I seen it, man, all the respect goes out in the world to these track owners. Sometimes the guys rolling through the gate with a race car don't always see it from that side of things. And let me just tell you, now that I'm not an owner anymore, it is a tough deal. There's a lot. Insurance isn't friendly to you. There's a lot of things you got to do right, health and safety, just a lot of things that got to be done behind the scenes, and a lot of good people.
And I think you hit the nail on the head back when Scotia started to open with this COVID deal, and they upped their prices for testing, and because they were only allowed to have so many people and so many cars at the racetrack. There's a lot that goes into the promotional side and the operations side of this sport. And I know Denver can allude to it. I know Dylan's seen a little bit of it, but Greg, there's a lot that goes in that people really don't see on a regular basis.
Yes, and like that was lost leaders for those guys. They're losing money at that point. I mean, you're renting the track for 2 hours. What was it for? $60? Whatever was the price? It was up. Whatever. I mean, you got a guy at the gate standing there. He's getting paid something. You got a property tax bill on that track worth. You wouldn't want to know. I mean, there's no way that was going. It would have been easier for the owner to keep the gate locked. He did it for all the right reasons, and then people to step up and be negative. That's hard to take at times. And I know sometimes we'll think we're blinders, but believe me, I ran a race with no fans. I can tell you how that worked out. When you got a bunch of classes of cars with no lead sponsors on any car, one thing about it, when I left there, I jumped in my truck easier because my wallet was lighter.
And then it rained on Sunday that day, and that didn't help.
No, it didn't help a thing. No. But,
yeah,
but no negatives to look back on. Glad I took the chance. But like I said, there's a lot of more things on my list, and I don't think anyone's seen the end of me yet. There's other things that I'm going to accomplish yet. It's just right now we're just gearing back with the big part that pays the bills. And if the racing keeps going on with the kids, I probably got some more expensive bills coming, so I better start to fill the vault up here.
I can tell you about that rainout on the first weekend, and I think Dylan can allude to it. Dylan, the rainout was a little bit of a drag, but the party Saturday night was pretty good, wasn't it?
That was such a fun night in Sydney. That was my first time in Sydney too. And I was saying to Shawn earlier, and I've said it a few times, even though we didn't have many fans, except for the passionate Cape Breton fans in turn 1, that was one of the funnest weekends because it just kind of seemed like the pressure was a little off because we were just there to have fun. And we had a great time. We were off the cuff. Oh, is it going to rain tomorrow? Let's race a little bit more. There was some good memories there. Tim, I want to go back to social media because you talk about free time and Greg not being the owner. Lawrence Hopper's wondering, hey, Greg, what are you going to do with all your spare time now?
Geez, I come out and help paint the track, Lawrence. So, get out there and do some painting with you. When are we going to start doing that? Or whenever there's a black mark, I'll come out and help you.
A lot of congratulations, Greg, for you keeping Sydney Speedway, bringing back Sydney Speedway after it was closed for a few years. And is that what you want your legacy to be with owning this track, that you revive this track and that it's going strong again?
I never got quite to where I want to, again, like I would have, really to get an Invitational Pro Stock deal there was really on my list. To get a bigger Sportsman car count. The facility still needs a little bit to get me there. I was working for that this year. I did have some bigger plans. There's no doubt. I have probably had the hardest 2 years of any owner, if I do may say so myself. No one else had to endure COVID. To be actually locked out of your own facility, like all the tracks had to face it, I know, but of the ownership at Sydney, that's a tough deal. I wasn't even allowed to travel to work at my own track. I could have snuck behind PPM because we do contracts in Sydney that were essential workers, but I didn't want to play the game. It was people's safety and health, and I didn't want to use that card to do those things. And it was a tough deal that way, but we stayed focused. Kody, again, what more can I say? Kody was there. We talked, we chatted. They got this winter idea on, and they pulled it off. Tim and I drove up and we sat in the vehicle and we watched the show. And it was a good deal. And I hope they continue that. That is one thing I do hope they continue. And I'm going to talk about helping them out this winter if they will do something. We want to bring the biggest trophy. We've seen that some of the other tracks how the big trophy thing works. So we may try that this winter if we're allowed to steal an idea and maybe come up with a winner big trophy. So we'll see how that goes.
I've got one more for now for social media, from social media. And Greg, I don't know if you can really speak to it, but I remember when we were at Petty, we were talking about the Sydney schedule and everything is up in the air. We got a couple of questions about, is racing returning to Sydney this year with the restrictions loosening up? Can you speak to that? Is there an event going to be coming up in the near future, or is that more of a Lyndon and Kyle question?
That is more of a Lyndon and Kyle, but from what I know, they're at it. They were there today. Work is underway. And yeah, they want revenue. They're going to want to open that gate. So I got a feeling you're going to see it. There was just a few things we were trying to accomplish in the last couple of weeks that never got done. We started on some work up there, as you know, but work's been taking us all over Atlantic Canada. And I got everyone working 7 days a week here at the office, so there wasn't a whole lot of time to give extra help. So I got a feeling these guys are going to get on it, and you're going to see dates coming for sure.
And I'll echo that. I know I talked to Lyndon a little bit last night, and he had mentioned about trying to get a schedule out of at least a couple of events to get the deal really kicked off here in 2021. But they, as Greg mentioned, they got some work to do up there. They're getting it all done and getting it ready to go for what we have for 2021. And Greg, I think the biggest thing is technically Nova Scotia is still under restrictions. The bubbles are now 250. Riverside's allowed to have 250 person bubbles this weekend at the Parts Trucks 150, but to split up a facility like your own, I know we discussed it, maybe 2, maybe 3 bubbles, and then there's a pit. It's not easy to deal with these COVID restrictions.
No, not at all. I don't know about your social, but man, you sure got mine heated up. My phone is just a big in here, so I don't want to be distracted. Everyone's coming right to me. I got lots of questions, but anyways, I'll get back to those guys later. No, yeah. Definitely, there's ways. I mean, the pit road going the other way, like we said, keeping the other way is a separate bubble in turn 1 and 2. The pit's another. Split the grandstands. There's ways, even on the 150 restrictions, to get 600 people plus in there. So definitely, I think that'll all work. So, I'll be up for the first event. That's all I know. I've got every class of car they need, so I'll be there hell or high water.
I know you're busy. We're going to let you get back at it because I know you got to nut and bolt those race cars to get them ready for Friday night for the Car Star Weekly Racing Series. But any final thoughts before we let you go and get back to Shawn?
No, just Shawn, good luck this weekend. Definitely, I know you always got Sydney in your thoughts when you're racing there, and I hope you do well this weekend and get your old form back. And no, just I'm in a good spot. I'm having it. Like I was mixed emotions all week about this. When, as we spoke, Tim, when to release, when not to release, and you know what? I'm just going to be excited to get back to the racetrack and start racing again and be focused on one thing when I'm at the racetrack. So
it's going to be fun, Greg. We wish you all the best. We will we'll see you on Friday night at the Car Star Weekly Racing Series at Scotia Speed World. We'll get Paul to load some B-roll up onto the screen. We'll actually get to promote, I guess, Scotia Speed World on Friday night, maybe, if he has that up there. We're going to keep him busy tonight on the keys. There's some racing at Sydney Speedway. We're going to bring Shawn Waterfield back up into the picture. And Shawn, let's chat about this weekend. We kind of chatted about it earlier, but Riverside International Speedway back at it. I think the last time I checked, Joan said there were 8, not 800, not 80. There were 8 tickets left for the race. So if you're lucky to get one of those tickets, what do they expect on Saturday? You got the Pro Stocks, you got the Heart of a Champion. What are you looking forward to? What are your goals for the 23 team?
First of all, thank you, Greg, and thank you for the last few years. You've just kept your head in the game with us. You did what you could, and we appreciate it. Now the next generation of track owners moving in, we hope them all best. Riverside. Of course, I hope to see a few jumped in all 3. I know the Heart of the Champions. I really enjoyed watching them at Petty when I went up to help rent with Ronnie. With us, I'd love to see 20 plus, and of course with the Pro Stocks, hopefully they have all of their little kinks worked out, and you're going to see 20 plus with those.
Now
as usual.
you kind of hit the nail
But
on.
yeah, the finish.
You kind of hit the nail on the head. I want to ask about the teammate rivalry here. Before we let you go, you and Ronnie going back and forth. If Ronnie's on your bumper coming to the checkered flag on Sunday, do you move him?
I hope that's exactly the scenario we're in, and then we'll see what happens that last 80, 90 feet.
Mad scramble to the line, right?
Yes. You know what? We'll respect each other and hopefully have a cold one afterwards and laugh about it.
We saw the new car earlier, or the new scheme on the car, and I know you mentioned it on social media, but that's you've got your own sign shop, but it was a kind of an amalgamation of a couple of different sign shops and graphic shops to put that thing together. Tell us how this thing came together this year.
Yeah, I've been friends with Mikey Alexander for a very long time. We met as rivals at Shediac. I'll just put a little giggle out there for him. In order to qualify for a big Shediac race years ago, I had to be aggressive, and unfortunately the aggression was driving over his hood. I didn't try to drive over his hood. I just tried to bump him, and tires touched, and we hollered at each other in the pits, and now we're buddies. So, but anyway, and then Ryan, a good friend of mine, Fuqua, he owns Signature Signs in New Brunswick. So we're kind of like it's my own simple signs. Mikey was really busy. So long story short, him and I, got together with a design back and forth. And then he was so busy that I talked to Ryan and said to Ryan, here's the situation. I need you to run them off because even though I have my own print shop, he has the wide format. So he said, yeah, you know what, anything I can do to help. And then, of course, I installed the simple signs, Shawn, Waterfield, whatever. And, so everybody was, I was trying to keep it a secret because I've never thrown green on any race currently. And he hit the nail on the head because I wanted to really give Candy from the North. She's such a sponsor for this sport that I really want to show her how much we appreciate her. So putting her as a primary and giving her the car colors was, our way of saying thanks. And not even just for me from the 23 car. I just wanted to show her that everybody that she looks after really appreciates it. And, be the primary of exactly my car, especially.
Before we let you go, I know Denver's chomping at the bit over here to ask you a couple of questions because with all this back and forth stuff, we never really got to Denver. So Denver, what do you got for Shawn Waterfield?
Well, Shawn, I kind of want to start with a question that's kind of a little bit out of the ballpark, but I think it's a great week to have you on. My question is, who is your favorite NASCAR driver?
I followed the Dukes since Rusty Wallace's days, and obviously I rolled in with Kurt and Brad. And then found out, a week ago that Brad jumped. I'm not going to say jump ship. He found an opportunity to become a co-owner with Roche Racing, and Cedric's gonna jump into the Dukes. So, I'm going to support the next Dukes driver, and I've been a Team Penske fan, so love Joey Logano as well, and of course Ryan Blaney with lots of talent, and Matt. So I'm going to keep rolling the punches with the Team Penske, and even though we're Chevy guys, I have to.
Right on. I had to ask, given the news this week. I knew you were a fan of the two car.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. And I'll still watch Brad's career because meeting him in person at Riverside, got to talk to him a little bit. Great guy. I think he's a little scared of lightning because we were talking, and that was the weekend the IWK had a bad thunderstorm, and we were talking on the pit wall, and so the cloud of thunder came, he started running. So I'm just taking that as maybe he's a little scared of thunder lightning.
So I want to ask you before I have a couple questions regarding Sydney, but first I want to ask, you've got to run a couple tracks throughout the Maritimes. What's your favorite track you've run at so far?
Obviously, I always love to run our home track because that's where our sponsors, our family, our closest friends come from. Love Riverside for its high banks and speed and its excitement. And the good thing about Riverside being so close to home, it's still considered a home track because a lot of Cape Brentons go there. A lot of our sponsors go there. So that's kind of a back and forth. That's our home track as well. However, Petty is kind of like as the joke goes, my Eleanor track. I love it. It's hard for me for some reason, and I hope to get back there. Love what Wayne is doing with the place. It's an amazing track, and I hope to get back there with him, support him, and learn more because Ronnie's been there, a few more times, and learning something every time he goes and pass it on as the teammate buddies, and hope to get there and put it to the track.
So looking ahead, what's on your bucket list for 2021 and beyond? Is there anything you want to, any races you want to win, any tracks you want to make the trip to? What's on your bucket list looking forward?
Supporting, obviously, the closest track to my sponsors would be Riverside at this point. And after, a quick chat with, I've been friends with Lyndon for a very, very long time. He's crewed for me and so on and so forth, and known Kyle all my life, basically. So definitely going to support them as we did Greg, and being closer to them, going to do our best. Ronnie, and we've all talked about it, Ronnie and Kent, and we've all said, we'll do what we can to be behind these guys, make sure we get our cars to the track when there is an event. But I know with those two guys, we were testing the car tonight and kind of quickly, and he said, okay, I got to get back to work. So he's a workhorse. He loves work, and he'll work all hours of the day. So that's what that track needs. Like Greg said, he unfortunately in the bubble, he got stuck outside of it as a 4.5-hour track owner. And with those guys, that'll work day and night. And they're goal setters. They'll just go, 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 go. So, I can't wait to see what Kyle and Lyndon have set for that place. And I can't wait to race back on it because, again, it's our backyard track. So
with the new owners, what is your outlook on the future at Sydney Speedway? Is there anything you would like to see? I'm sure there's lots of ideas floating around, but from Shawn Waterfield's point of view, What would you like to see at Sydney Speedway going forward?
Night racing. There's nothing like night racing. And that track is a lot of fun, especially in the night because cars are cooler. Things are faster.
Didn't you have a hand in the last night race up there?
And helping out when Bill had the track, Shawn Cole and I, and help with Ronnie and a whole bunch of other guys, Kody and all that. We threw together that cancer center weekend where we donated lots of money from that race with autism and cancer and all that. And it was a night, you're right, it was a night race. And we even had fireworks. And luckily enough, we got to win it that night. And that was a really good night, actually. Not because we had a friend in the stands that was battling cancer, and she got to come down, and it was a pretty good moment.
And I don't know if Greg, are you still with us?
Not sure, am I?
Yeah, you're what did you just text me?
Well, I heard Shawn mention about lights. I was going to say, well, one piece of good news is when I sold the track, I did have lights for the track, so they were sold in the deal. So that was one of the things on my list, and they do have some new LED lights, probably 75% of what they need to get that started. So I think that's something you may see.
Awesome.
That was on my list, and some pads, maybe some new pads in the pits, and some other changing of the configuration of the tech shed, and a few things. I think I've heard rumblings.
There you go. Some breaking news and things to look forward to coming up for racing in Cape Breton. For those that are just joining us, and Dylan, I know we've got a little bit on social that there's new ownership at Sydney Speedway. Kyle McKinnon of Kyle's Paving and Linda McDougall going to take this thing forward in Sydney in the 2021 season and beyond. But before we get to social, Shawn, give you an opportunity. You mentioned Candy at Northside Tax. You've got a lot of dedicated partners on your race car that help you get to the racetrack every single week. Who's on the race car? You mentioned the crew as well. Give them a little shout out. Who makes it happen for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like as I already know, Dave Dyer helps a lot. Ronnie McKay's still heavily involved in my car. And you can't thank the sponsors enough to stick around and or come on as new, like Candy from Northside Tax, Kerry McDonald from Safeway Auto Parts, been with me a very long time. Mallard Electrical jumped on again this year for the second year in a row. Really big supporter of Dwayne Horton. He's owned Industrial Wide. He's like anybody else. He's a true fan and just loves to help out who he can. And Direct Tire's been along with us. It used to be Donnie's. Donnie had sold it to his partner there, and but he still, helps us out. And course. But yeah, the always jumped on actually tonight, so I rushed into the car today to get his deck on before the weekend came. So made that happen. And GWL, Greg Wilnup, a friend of mine that I do a lot of deco work. That was just in the last week. Two more got in the car to help, help us round out hopefully good season. Because as anybody knows, just in tires, it's a lot of money just per race. If you want to compete, you have to have fresh rubber and gas and rubber. It's a lot of money every week.
Looking forward to seeing that 23 on the racetrack this weekend. Looks good. Shawn, all safe travels, all the best. We'll see you on Saturday at Riverside, and good luck in the NAPA Sportsman opener.
Great, guys. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
That's Shawn Waterfield, driver, the number 23, and I'll get Paul to let's go fantasy. Let's go fantasy points. Let's talk about fantasy points because we'll throw the fantasy points up first. And Denver, we had a decent week. We didn't have a race winning week, but we had a decent week, didn't we?
I think so. I don't 100% remember, but I think it was second place, which is okay. I mean, better than last.
Yeah, second place is not first, but still a decent show.
So did anyone pick the winner? I'm trying to look for clarification on this issue because apparently there's been someone changing picks.
Nobody picked a winner. Okay. Sam Rogers was the winner of the Maritime Legal Legends Tour show.
So that means we got the most points of anyone.
Yes, and I'm stuck with the norm number. I'm at 666. Brittany moved ahead of Meredith with her pick. She picked Craig McDonald. Somehow, don't know how, changed her pick last minute. We're going to get to her in a second, though, because she did the same thing this week.
Twice, didn't she?
No, sort of. Dylan, you need to pick up some points. What are you doing down there?
Is BS, man. I won the first two events and I'm almost at the bottom. How the heck is this happening?
Yeah, what you're still ahead of the fans. How about that? We got to get we're going to get the slide for the fans up later on, and you can go over to timscorner.ca/fantasy picks to make your pick. But before we leave this, Brandon Campbell, are you still here?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you say to me on the in the tower on Sunday?
I said the top three is going to be the 12, the 03, and the 51. And Tim goes, not a chance. And Brittany goes, not a chance. And I said, watch.
Yeah. And you were right.
Yeah. Can I hear that again?
Okay. You've been hanging, you come to Scotia Speed World one weekend, you hang around Brittany, you go to Shediac. Damn.
Let me click record on this. I was right.
No, you were somewhat okay. Next slide, Paul. Let's get out of here. Let's talk about Pro Stock Tour racing. Our next race for the weekend is the Riverside International Speedway race. It is the 150 coming up. And Denver, you have driver 53.
The most recent winner on the East Coast International Pro Stock Tour. Can't go wrong with that. He's won, I think, 2 of the last 4 races at Riverside, dating back to when, not counting last year, but back to 2019 when the last full season. So he's a 2-time winner or champion, podium finisher at the Snowball Derby. What's not to like about this pick?
Well, yeah, it's funny because, and I'm going to go down to the Brittany Hoyt pick. She's not here to make fun of tonight. She picked Nicholas Noggle. She said, well, maybe for all the reasons you just said, let's pick Cole Butcher. And then all of a sudden, she decided to go on and say, hey, I'm going to go to Cole. And then she said, well, I did that last weekend, so I'm going to go back to Nicholas Noggle. So Brittany has Nicholas Noggle this weekend. We're going to Andy Ganesh. Donald Chisholm's the only choice. Dylan, you have the guy that led 136 laps last time we were there?
He dominated. If Cole didn't spin out, if Jonathan Hicken didn't make contact with Cole Butcher, he probably would have won that race. That was the way the Tour of My Cat 150 ended. Late race caution. Greg would have ran away with that if not for that last restart. I got a feeling that new Dodge he brought out last year is going to be some powerful on Saturday. I expect Mr. Islander to land in victory lane on Saturday night.
Yeah, and Jared Butcher is Meredith's pick. You can make your pick starting tomorrow at timscorner.ca/fantasy picks. We lost our next guest. Is he on the? He might not be on the call. So hold on. We will bring a smiling face up here somewhere.
Bring me.
Oh, hold on. Here he is. Stand by. Our next guest is the driver of the number 88 mini stock legend car. He's driven street stock. He's driven about anything that you could ever drive at Sydney Speedway and beyond. Kody, get your phone the other way around so we can see the full shot. There we go. Kody Quinn joins us now on Tim's Corner Live. Kody, welcome to the show.
Hey, Tim.
You've been busy. So how's your obviously you promoted 2 races at Sydney Speedway this year. So how's besides those 2 races, how's your winter been?
You know what? It was probably the longest winter in the last couple of years, but I mean, it went pretty smooth. I mean, those winter events definitely helped the track a lot. I mean, there was a lot of positive feedback after those races and a lot of new faces with mini stock guys. We have 7 new guys building mini stocks that race the Winter Blast, and I think that is definitely what's going to make the track grow. Is you keep those new fellas in cars for the winters and indoor races or hobby stocks, whatever. So
we're kind of going to bounce around this conversation tonight because I know you're involved in a lot of different race cars and a lot of different facets of this sport. But let's step back to, I guess it was last weekend, River Glade International. That's a big show. How cool was it to put that mini stock into victory lane there?
Oh, it was awesome. I didn't expect to go there and win. I had no idea what that car was going to do. I just bought it off Brandon McMillan, and I plugged in the generator, put on the LED lights, and worked on it out of the C can. And then 2 days before we went, I took it to Josh's, and we changed the transmission, and we got his old man to paint it, and we fired her in the trailer and headed on the highway.
And ran the East Coast Mini Stock Tour race on day number 1. Podium finished there. And then the next day with the local guys in town, you kind of took the local guys to school at their own racetrack. So how cool is it to go up there? And, you've won all the races in Sydney, but how cool is it to get up the road and get back to victory lane at Petty?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, those guys were probably the cleanest drivers I've raced with in a long time. Lots of respect, especially for Trevor. The Zero car, Rob Poirier. Ryan McKnight, all those guys are awesome to race with. I mean, Wayne put on a hell of a show. Everything it ran smooth. There was no hiccups. Cars got lined up. Cars went on the track. There was no serious accidents. When there was one, the paramedics were there right away. And, just the whole event, I made it a vacation. We went up and we got a hotel. We got to do the things that we don't normally do when we go away racing because we're always focused on racing and stressed out and all that stuff. So we just made it fun. We had the girls with us, and Greg came up on Saturday, and we shot the shit and had a beer, and we made it fun. So
hold on, you said a beer and Greg Dow in the same sentence. Shouldn't that be multiples in there?
I only ever seen you with one. Just don't tell Charlotte.
Exactly. We are live and interactive this evening. Drop us a question, drop us a comment for Kody Quinn. We talked about the multifacets of this sport. Obviously, the big news coming out tonight that Lyndon and Kyle are part of this racetrack now. You've known Lyndon for many, many years. You've been around. You're from Sydney. What's this announcement mean to you?
Oh, well, I had people messaging me probably for months now. What's the deal with the racetrack? And I knew the deal, but I couldn't say nothing. And there was a couple of guys that were after the track. But that's what Cape Breton's like. When someone's interested in something, everybody's got to get behind them and try to get it from underneath them. So, but I'm glad Lyndon got the track. Him and Kyle are probably the best fit for the track. With just the means, with the machinery and knowledge. I mean, we were there today working on the track, and just, things have just you would think that there was a week's worth of work done in one day, but I think that the track, you'll see that track turn around probably within 3 weeks and hopefully get racing underway. I know they do have a lot of ideas for over the season. I know they're interested in putting a beer garden in 3 and 4, filling up that bank and putting it like Riverside, so you can have your fans in the turns 3 and 4 drinking beer, having a good time. And then they're going to move the tech shed and change the pits, kind of lay it out like Petty, where it's wide open and cement pads. All that stuff is what the track needs. And Greg did a hell of a job with owning the track. Like he said, it's hard for being so far away, and the cost of renting machinery from local or even bringing his own down is just, it's not feasible. And when you don't get that much support from the local businesses, it's hard to do those things. But like it is, it's hard with businesses not knowing what's happening with COVID. They don't know how many fans you're going to be allowed to have. So it's kind of it was probably the biggest hiccup in racing that ever happened since I've been racing, and it sucks for Greg to have to go through that. But at the end of the day, everything works out. So.
As a racer, when you won championships when Bill and Lynn had the racetrack, you obviously got to see it when Stan Dix and Barry and all those had the racetrack. From growing up in the city and the progression that we've seen, looking back, how neat is it to see where it is right now and going into the future with what's to come?
It's awesome. I mean, I was a kid on my pedal bike going to the track and just watching everything going on, whether it was helping out with the sweeper truck or just, I was even mowing the lawn back then. Just things don't change. So, and I started racing in 2014 when Bill and Lynn got the track, and ever since then I was hooked. And then I had the opportunity in 2018 to travel down south, and I was racing down south for a couple of years, and then got to hook up with Greg, and I accomplished and got to do more things in the last 4 years than I ever thought I ever would in my whole lifetime. And without the people that are always around me, and Greg and my family and friends and everything, I wouldn't have that. So.
Now, you talked about mowing the lawn back in the day. I know you've done some laps around that racetrack in a mower. How quick can you get that mower around that racetrack?
Enough to burn the dry belt out 3 or 4 times. Mackley Equipment sponsors me, and they fix all the lawn equipment. And he says, "Yeah, Kody's in again for another dry belt, mowing too fast." So
got to slow it down a little bit then.
Yeah, it's hard.
I want to ask you about the streak, because Greg kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier. 14 are we at right now, races that you've competed in a mini stock that you won at Sydney?
Yeah, 14. Yep.
So going forward, obviously, I'm sure you're going to be back there trying to extend that streak, but and I'll bring Denver in a moment, because there's another streak going on right now that J.R. Lawson's got 13 in Miramichi. Do you look at that? Do you kind of go back and forth and kind of compare? And does it drive you at all to drive your number up?
I think that's the best thing that fans want to see. JR has a streak going. I have a streak going. You look at Dave Matthews, tons of championships. Kody Burns, tons of wins. I think, you know what? Me, Dave Matthews, Kody Burns, JR Lawson, you guys want to see something? You guys, fans, want to see something? I'd say we all do a home track shootout. We race Miramichi, and all of us race, whether it's 30 cars or whatever, and we do a points battle. We'll come to Sydney, we'll race at my track, we'll go to PEI, race at Kody's track, and we'll go to Dave's track in Scotia. I think that's something that the fans would love to see, like a maritime mini stock champion shootout or something like that. I think that'd be perfect.
And Denver, there is a race in Miramichi on August 7th. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a 50 lapper, right?
It's a 50 lapper, Tim, and there's a 4-foot trophy on the line as well. And to back up a little bit, we have to get these track owners to maybe calm down a little bit on trophies, because I don't know if we can top the one last year in Miramichi without needing a transport truck to haul it. So we maybe have to calm down, because I know if
you just need to make the bases bigger. I told Barry that already.
Yes. But if Greg's trying to get something bigger, Barry is competitive and he's not going to let someone one up him. So we're going to have trophies taller than houses before long. Which I don't know if that's a good problem to have or not. But yeah, August 7th, 50 lapper, that's going to be a fun race. And J.R. Lawson's going to be there. And last race, Tim, you were in Miramichi, and he had the field covered.
He did. And Kody, by the sounds of it, Greg's talking potentially about a trip to Miramichi. So you were up there. How long has it been since you've been to Miramichi?
I've got my first win in Miramichi in 2014. And that was the last time I was there. I was there twice. 2014, I raced, would have been the 2 June races that they had, or June and the July race. But it's just like Sydney, so you better be prepared.
So there we go. If that happens on August 7th, that is going to be a show, and you'll be able to see it on Tim's Corner TV. Dylan, I know social's been a little bit quiet, but I see Jason Pickles over there.
Yeah, Jason wrote, by the way, Kody, good to chat with you here. Jason wrote, had a great time with you at Petty, Kody, but if you would have stayed home, I would have won a heat race. Throwing a little shade at you, I think, Kody.
Yeah. What do you guys got? Some kind of pool going on?
We have a fantasy pool going on in between us, but Jason's not a part of that. I guess Jason just wants to win a heat race. I think that's what that is. Now we do have some questions. Brandon Campbell is here. Mr. I cannot get my Honda to work. So besides Brandon, do you have any questions for Kody besides asking Kody how do you start a Honda Civic? Because usually it's key, but we'll leave it at that.
Well, I mean, I can't start a Honda, but at least I haven't hit a bear on the highway on the way down here.
Ooh.
Well, okay, what's that story about?
I mean, them bears are big and churro. I don't know. We were just driving along, and he decided to run out on the highway, and I did the old mini stock swerve there and clipped him in the arse. That was the end of it.
Was it the end of the car or the truck you were driving, or was it the end of the bear?
Yeah. Well, the bear was still alive. He took off.
Okay.
So, but the car is not great.
Yeah. No. Probably not great. I see Ashton's watching us, our photographer at Scotia Speedworld. If you haven't checked out Wingnut Productions yet, be sure to head over and check them out. Ashton and Shelby have done a great job the last couple of weeks on our photography in Halifax. But so looking forward to this 2021 season. Obviously, you got the 1 win under your belt. You're going to go to Petty Raceway. You got that under your belt. Miramichi's on the radar. Obviously, whatever happens at home is going to happen. What else you got on your radar? We're going to see in some legend car races. What's the plan for you?
Yeah, I mean, Greg's the boss, so if he says he wants me to race, I got to put the helmet on and go race. But I plan on, I'd like to go to Miramichi and race. I know JR is tough to beat. He's tough to beat anywhere. So I'm sure that if he raced that race in Petty the other day, that we both would have been sweating. But my plan is to run some mini stock tour races. I'll probably hit up the 2 Riverside and 2 660. And hopefully go to PEI. I don't think I'll make Lake Doucette. But yeah, no. If I'm gonna race the legend race, it probably will be 660 Speed Weekend. I'll do that one. I love 660. And Greg works with Braden Langell now, and he puts together some tremendous race cars. And you get a bit more confidence when you're running under someone that knows what they're doing. So. I think, we'll hit up some 660, some Scotia, and maybe even if Riverside has a legend race, we'll do that one too. So
you mentioned the down south stuff, and I know you've worked with CJ and 860 and those guys recently, but you've got to do some big events, and I think the biggest one maybe Battle at the Big Top a couple of years ago, or the Spring Battle, or whatever they call that deal now with Texas Motor Speedway. What do you remember about those races that you got to take in down south?
Oh, well, I wasn't supposed to race. We were just going down, and we had 4 or 5 people going. Austin McDonald was from Pictou, and he was going down. And so someone backed out. Joe Ryan says, "Why don't you race?" I said, "Well, you need my help." He goes, "Well, you can do both." I'm like, "Oh God," So anyways, I called Greg and said, "Listen, Greg, he just bought a car in Florida in February, and this was around March or April, and so put the car together. Greg said, fill your boots. So we took the car down to Texas. I had no expectations of finishing top 10 because you're racing against people that do that for a living. It's their dream. It's very, very serious down there. They're in cars from Monday to Sunday. And, I wasn't in a legend car in 8 months, and I hopped in one down Texas, and I had a rough start. I was way off the first couple of practices. The second day was race day, but we had practice in the day, and I was the fastest car at the end of the practice day out of all the pros, semi-pros, young lions, masters, and throughout the whole week, it was awesome. I got like 3 or 4 second place finishes. I was always in the top 5. I actually missed the championship, lost to Jason Alder by 3 points. And it was tough because the winner got to go across the stage at the NASCAR event the next day. And but it was just the experience, and nobody really gets to do those things. But I was definitely fortunate, with Greg letting me run his car, and Joe Ryan and all them getting me to work with them. But I hope to do that again. We'll go down south and have some beers, go to Daytona, maybe hit a race up at Winter Nationals. And, that's what life's about, having fun.
And get those big sunglasses that we got at Daytona, right?
Oh, yeah.
Looking forward, I guess let's look back a little bit. You've been a part of the organization and the track ops side and what have you the last couple of years in Sydney. I kind of asked Greg a little bit earlier, what's the biggest thing that you've learned eye-opening wise on the management side of things that maybe a racer might not know?
Stress, people. There's so much. It's not just show up, put your clothes on, go out the door, and go to the racetrack. It's like weeks and weeks up to that event of constant worrying about what am I going to forget. I got up there. The first one I did was October. I said to Greg, I was like, will you let me put on an event in October? I think it would go well. And he said, yep, no problem. And when I got up the morning when I was doing that event, I stood at the track and I was like, what am I forgetting? And my mind went blank. And as soon as everybody started to line up at the gate, I started remembering little things. I was like, oh my God. But, you got to have a good support crew. I had a great group of people that were helping me out, run the event, whether it was at the gate, in the pits, on the flag stand, in the tech shed, but running around during the event, that 4-hour event feels like 12. But when you sit there and look and you got a stands full of fans and good car count, it makes you appreciate what you do so much more. And I hope to do that again. I know Lyndon and Kyle got a good grasp on everything in Sydney, and I'll step back a little bit for now and let them do their construction side of the track, and I'll do my mowing part of it and go race and whatever. But when we start getting some events on the go, I'll step in.
I want to ask you about the winter thing. We're kind of circling around here because we kind of talked about it off the top of the conversation, but 2 winter blast races. We had, I think the COVID number, I think we put on the second one was over 50, but we had 78, 79 cars there. How cool was that to see that event come from an idea to happening on the racetrack?
Oh, it was pretty neat because when I first came up with the idea, you wouldn't think that many cars would show up. I mean, it's hard to find cars when there's 40 centimeters on the ground. Where are you going to find them? You got to go dig them out. But we had, like you said, 60 some cars the first event, 80 some the next event, and everything went perfect. The best part of the event was when we had the 10 car dashes, 5-lap dash, and we send 10 cars at a time because it is hard. There's not much room in the pits. You can only plow so much. When the snowbanks build up, it makes less room for everybody to park. But when everybody was out there, it was 5-lap dash. We just kept lining cars up. You got people that never raced before that were getting their first win, and you got guys like Richard Salter, Dennis Nickerson, all those guys that came from away to race. Adam Meehan came down. They're coming down for a winter race that is, it doesn't happen anywhere. I know whenever she started it, it's just it's something that you would never think that would work, and it did, and it probably worked better than our summer events because just there was nothing to do. COVID was just taking over everything. Everybody was shack wacky, if that's even a word, but it is in Cape Breton. So, but everybody loved it, and that's the main thing. And I think that you can pull off one Winter Blast event each month of the winter. And I don't know why Scotia doesn't do that. That's a big success.
And I think the proof is right in front of us with 78, 9, almost 80 cars in the pits. It definitely works. And Denver, I know you gave it a go up there this year too. And Speedway Miramichi had a successful event. But I know you got some questions, I'm sure. What do you got for Kody Quinn?
First of all, I'm a little jealous because northern New Brunswick gets hammered with snow compared to Cape Breton. So definitely jealous. I wish we had the amount of snow you guys got instead of the 4 to 6 feet that we had. But Kody, looking forward, bucket list for you. Where do we see Kody Quinn in a car in 5 years?
Well, it might be a scooter at Walmart. I don't think it'll be a race car. But, I don't know. I just take it year by year, I mean, if it wasn't for the opportunities Greg gave me with allowing me to run his legend cars and with Josh helping me out and allowing me to have, an awesome mini stock every time I go on the track, I wouldn't have anything because, I'm not really mechanically inclined. And I don't really have the means of the money to afford to buy a legend car or a Sportsman or a pro stock or whatever. So, these opportunities that I keep stumbling across is what keeps my racing going. And at the end of the day, if in 2 years I'm not racing and I'm helping out run a racetrack, that's all I care about, or if I want to go support Dylan and go away racing with Greg or go down to Dominican and have a good time, that's all that matters. So.
You talk about what you've done with the track and, growing up, a lot of people go to the tracks. They want to be race car drivers. Did you ever imagine that there'd be a point in time where you were running your own event when you were 5-10 years old, going to Sydney Speedway or Island Speedway as it once was known?
No, I never would imagine that. I mean, I took a big risk because it could have went south real quick because, I was new to everything. But like I said, what made it happen was the support, and that was the huge thing. I can't do it by myself. It's not a one-man show. It's a whole team that you need, and that's the success that a racetrack needs. But myself, it was a whole lot better than racing because you feel accomplished that you can do that, and a lot of people have much respect when you can pull off something like that, and. I mean, Greg trusted me to do that. That's a huge thing. That's even more of a risk than what I was doing. So, but no, it was good.
I have a question, Tim.
Yep, go ahead.
Kody, am I putting that 88 Legend on the trailer for Petty on Saturday? I hear it's 1,000 to win. I need my hot shoe coming up there. So am I loading that car, or I've just been wasting my time decaling that and getting it ready?
I don't know. We'll have to think about that. I think I got a cabin booked for Riverside, and I think the girlfriend would hang me if I canceled that.
If a helicopter sneaks in, can you run to it?
Hell yeah.
You can buy her a really nice piece of jewelry for $1,000 to win, right?
Yeah, there you go, Tim.
That may or may not make up for the cabin.
No. But like I said, that's what my whole summer is about now. Is when you want to go away to race, you got to think about your summer too, because it doesn't last very long. You go away to watch a race or go away to race, you got to put the racing aside a little bit and try to enjoy your weekend as well. So that's what it's been about. And Petty was probably the best trip I've ever had. It was the funnest time. We got to have good laughs, no arguments. Everything was smooth, and that's how it should be. So
I want to ask you about the fan support in Sydney because, everybody likes a winner. It seems like when you win a bunch in a row, sometimes it gets lost. But I think the cheer from the first win that you had up there was just as loud as it was on the 14th win back in October. How cool is it to have the fan support that you have at home?
I love it. And a lot of the fan support, it stems from how you treat how you treat them. I'm the kind of guy that I go above and beyond to make a kid happy. Whether it's a 6-foot trophy or a 2-foot trophy, I'm going to hand it to one of those kids. And I think that goes a long way. And that's how I picked up one of my biggest sponsors with David Mackley. I live right next to his shop there down in Blackett's Lake, and his kids would drive by and see my cars all the time, and they were always at the track. And he stopped by and told my grandfather that he wants to see me. So I went down there, and next thing you know, I've got a truck full of mowing gear and a great sponsor on the car, and happy two boys. And when I go to the track and I get out of the car in Victory Lane, there's no booze. There may be a couple boos, but I can't hear them over the cheers. So, but no, it's awesome, and that's what it's all about. Is the fans. And I mean, like I said, we had races with no fans. It was tough, but I still could hear them cheering on your live there, Tim.
Yeah, and I think as long as you don't give away the picture trophies, I think we're fine, because I think the first race in 19, I think he gave away one of the dummy trophies we take for pictures, and I think we were a little short. That might have been before the Dylan Langell days that we had up there. But Dylan, I know social's kind of quiet. We've got Kody Quinn here for a few more minutes to drop us a question or a comment. Greg's still in the background as well. But there's one on there from a guy that knows Kody quite well, because Cody's got his old race car, right?
Yeah, so Brandon McMillan wrote, I would have thrown Kody in my car years ago had I known he'd drive the wheels off that thing, besides a bike back then. So, I mean, Kody, you're hopping in different cars and having great runs. And you got the big win on Sunday. Want to bring up Saturday's race, the East Coast Mini Stock Tour race. You almost won that race if your bumper was maybe 2 feet longer. How cool is it to race with Jesse DeVoe at the end, and then a little lap traffic mixed things up for you?
Yeah, it was definitely a nail biter. I was sweating like crazy after that one. From lap 1 to 50, it was me and Jesse just locked onto each other. He was a bit faster than me in turns 1 and 2, and I would get him in 3 and 4. And when we got to the lap traffic, 3 to go, it kind of slowed Jesse up a bit, and I was able to get underneath him coming to the checkered flag. But at the end of the day, it's like those guys on the East Coast Mini Stock Tour. It's not I'm the best mini stock driver. It's not Jesse's the best mini stock driver or Dave Matthews. Everybody is so close. It's all about luck. Like Dave Matthews would have been right there with me and Jesse if he hadn't gotten a little wreck there in practice. It's all how your day goes and how your car will perform. The biggest thing with a mini stock is, it's 80% car and 10% driver and 10% luck. You can be the best driver in the world and go out there in a car that's not capable of winning, and you can put it up front, but you can't win a race with it. And that's the way that mini stocks have changed. Just because they're so much faster now and they handle so much better. But at the end of the day, it was a great weekend, and me and Jesse put on a hell of a show. And Drew was definitely excited about that one.
Yeah, it was a fun race to announce and for the fans as well. You were talking about what you were planning to do with different tracks. With those East Coast Mini Stock Tour races, if everything goes well, they should be going to the road course in Shubenacadie in September. Would doing a little road course racing be up your alley, Kody?
You know what? I would like that. I'm pretty good in a go-kart, and I'm pretty sure that it might be the same thing. But you know what? It's a thing that everybody's going to go into blind, because nobody's raced the road course with a mini stock before, and I think it'll be a good laugh, because it's not for points. It's all about fun, and I think it'd be a good weekend, definitely.
Have you been to AMP before to watch, or maybe bring one of the cars you have to drive around? Have you been to that track before?
No, I haven't. I haven't even seen pictures of it.
That'd be really fun, Tim. We'll just drop them off there blindfold and say, go ahead.
I mean, you haven't rallied through the streets of Sydney before. You should be prepared for a road course.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's probably similar to Glace Bay.
just a couple of extra turns, and at least you come back and do the same lap again. I want to kind of add to what you were saying earlier. When we had the race on Friday night, and Cole Butcher and Nicholas Noggle, two pro stock guys, are lining up alongside Colton Noble, and Colton's going head to head with them. It's the same thing with you. When you sit your ass in a race car, it doesn't matter if it's the Legends or it's the mini stock. You're competing against guys like J.R. Lawson, Dave Matthews. You went down the list, Cody Byrne, and you're competitive with those guys, and you hop in that Legend car, and it's the guys that are up front every single week, the Andrew Lively's, the Paul Gouldens, and they've kind of, sort of semi moved on, but Braden Langell and Dylan and Sam Rogers and all these guys that are up front every single week. How cool is it to be listed as one of the top drivers in not only the mini stock division, but also the Legend division every time you get in a race car?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, the best thing that I like is when you go to the track and everybody's out to beat you. And that's a big thing. I know that some people might say that it sucks, but I mean, for you to be the guy to beat, that's probably the best thing going into a race. It makes you a bit more on edge, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure Blinkhorn feels the same way when him and Cole get into cars. Everybody's out to beat them. And now Corey's up there now, and he's going to be hard to beat this year and through the next coming years. But that's what happens. I mean, when you start racing, it is all about fun. But once you start being competitive, it gets a little more serious, and then you gotta prove a point every time. I mean, if I go out and race in Sydney and get third place, well, people will ask me what happened. But if in 2014 when I started and I got a top 5, it'd be unreal. So things change pretty quick, but yeah, no, that's racing, and that's how things happen. But yeah.
You mentioned that competition though in Sydney, and I want to talk about the mini stocks for a moment. You got, Josh Banach's been there. You got Darryl Hume. You got Dave Timmons. You got Zach Langell. You've got those guys that are up there every single week. The 82 car, Jonathan McGinnis has been, lighting it up a little bit. They're all starting to come into their own now that the racetrack is open, and now that Lyndon and Kyle are going to bring it into the next phase. And the mini stock competitors are tight up there, but then you had Dave Matthews, Andrew Warren. I think Cody Byrne was up there, Dave Matthews in that Thanksgiving Thunder. What does it mean to see all those guys come up and try to take that win, and they still end up behind the 88 car at the end of the day?
I kind of my mind goes blank when that happens, because they're tough. They're tough competition. But I mean, you look at the guys from Sydney. They don't race much, but they're still great drivers. You put them in cars just as much as Dave's in a car, or Jesse or Cody and all them. Take them to other tracks. Everybody's all pretty equal. And I mean, you come to Sydney, and we have some tough competition. It's Darryl's second year racing, and he was a top running car in his second year racing. And Josh is probably one of the most I don't know how to say that, consistent drivers. That guy can go out and run the same lap time 5 laps in a row, and that's the biggest thing with racing. You can be the fastest. You can have the fastest lap, but if you can't be consistent, you can't win races. And you got guys out there that can then pop off a fast lap time, but follow it up with half a second slower lap. But that's the biggest thing, is being consistent. And I've never ever seen someone race a car that can be that consistent as Josh. He's won championships. He's always been a top running car. Me and him and Lyndon actually put the show on when Bill and Lynn had it there for 3 years. We were always right there, and Brandon McMillan as well. But that's what it's about. It's about being consistent, and we have a lot of great drivers in Sydney, and the track's open now for practice. Everything's pretty much starting to go now. So get your butts to the track and get her going.
So for those competitors that haven't made the trek in a while, we obviously know what Sydney's like and the great racing it provides. But give us a sales pitch for those that might be Halifax cars or might be in New Brunswick and want to make that haul to Sydney at some point this year once everything gets going again. Why should they make the haul up to Sydney Speedway?
Well, Sydney's a driver's track, that's for sure. You can take a car that is an ill handling car and win a race with it in Sydney. But if you take one to Petty, you really rely on how the car handles there. But it's a fun track. It's the best legend Bandolero and mini stock track, I think. It's small, it's tight. You don't get a lot of speed, so there's not as much big wrecks, which is good. But you can run door to door, you can run 3 wide for 50 laps, and that's how racing is exciting for the fans. And I'm pretty sure that Richard Salter and Dennis Nickerson haven't raced a race car on the track, but they have driven their Winter Blast car, and they said that they're coming with their cars because of how fun the track is. You don't have, it doesn't matter what you're in. As soon as you get on the track, it's a racetrack, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think the Sportsman car count, once you get going, Pete Miller and Alex Johnson were ready to go in May before COVID kind of swept in and took that one off the map. And I think the car count's going to be good once the gates swing open and we get some racing in. But this has been fun. I'm going to go to Dylan one more time on social. I know socials kind of died off. Do you got anything else for Kody, Quinn, before we let him loose tonight? It's a Tuesday, or it's a Wednesday evening. I am sure Sydney's really busy tonight.
Oh, probably just buzzling. Well, my buddy Jeffrey Davidson just commented. He said, "Kody, lots of racing with Dave." I don't know if he's talking. I don't know which Dave. Is he talking about Dave Matthews? Do you think?
Timmons, maybe.
Dave
Yeah,
Timmons?
he was talking about Dave Timmons.
Sorry, Dave Timmons. I had to put 2 and 2 together. I was just in their hometown of Inverness on the weekend. It's a beautiful spot up there. How cool is it to race with a guy like Dave Timmons? I guess I'll add on to Jeffrey's question there. I mean, he's done it all in Sportsman and now mini stock. One of the best in Cape Breton, right?
Yeah, he's definitely a threat in a mini stock, that's for sure. Jeffrey puts together a great car for him. I mean, they got their ducks in a row there, and I tell you, when I meet him at racing, I'm on the edge every single lap. And you've seen that yourself, Dylan. The first race of the year there last year, me and Dave, he never left my bumper. And he got by me with a couple laps to go, but I pulled an expert move on the expert and did the crossover and got him. And if I hadn't done that, he would have beat me. But that guy is going to win some races if he gets back behind the wheel. I know he's got some health issues, but no, great guy, great team, great group of guys. Actually, they were there to support me and Petty on the weekend, and good group of guys.
So you're going to be at Riverside this weekend. Are you going to be in the pits helping someone, or just going to be in the crowd watching, or maybe just going to be camping at the Airbnb near Riverside?
I'll be in the stands, and I'm going to bring 2 beer with me for the weekend, and I might sip on one during the race.
Loaded.
Yeah, that's all I need. Couple beer, good to go.
And sip on that, because it's a 150 lap pro stock race. That's a long time, right?
Yeah, no, it's I might finish one before the end of that race.
Don't say that, Tim. We went 137 laps green flag last time.
Yeah, well, we had competition cautions at Scotia. I'm used to those now. I'm going to get used to actually doing racing now at Riverside when we get back, because we have 18 cars. Kody, I'll throw you on the spot because we were on the spot earlier. Who's going to win the thing on Saturday?
I don't really know who's racing. I called Dylan. I said, "Do you need help? I'm going up," and he said, "No, not racing." But if I was to pick a winner for Riverside, pro stock or Sportsman?
Let's give us both.
Let me see here. I think Butcher's going to win the pro stock race. And I think
2 Butchers.
I don't know. Well, I think Ronnie McKay's going to be a threat there in Riverside. I'll pick him to win for the Sportsman.
Greg brings up a good point. Cole or Jarrett?
Cole.
Okay, that sounds good. So Denver, I think he's right on the mark with what Brittany picked earlier today for the fantasy live pick for us for Tim's Corner. What do you got? What do you got for Kody before we let him loose tonight?
Well, Kody, I kind of have a question I meant to ask you earlier. Looking back over the last 2 years of Sydney Speedway under the ownership of Greg Dow, obviously you had a lot of involvement, but if you had to pick one moment from the entire 2 years. And obviously, what a challenging 2 years with COVID and everything that you guys were faced with. But if you could pick one moment from the past 2 years that stands out that you're going to remember for a long time, what would that be?
That's a tough one. There's lots. Let me see. It would probably be that October event that Greg let me put on, just to let him trust me with taking the reins of that and pulling it off in a good way, because the last event you put on of the year is what everybody thinks about all winter. If it goes bad, you got a bad taste for everybody, the whole winter. So it went awesome, and I think that was probably the best moment I've had with the Speedway.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. We're looking ahead. You have your win streak at Sydney. Who do you think is going to be the driver that breaks your streak?
Local car or away car?
It could be anything, anyone. It could be
88 car.
What is it?
Dave Matthews in the backup 88 car.
Yeah.
He's already putting drivers in there to try to beat you. What's up with that?
Yeah. If someone's going to break my streak, I would have to say it would be Josh. Josh built a brand new car with no time, and he was at a disadvantage because he didn't know much about the newer style cars. But he got that car figured out now, and if there was a guy to break my streak, it would be him.
I have one more question. This is kind of for you and kind of for Greg. So now that Greg has handed the keys over, when are we going to see him behind the wheel of a car?
Jesus.
He's going to be in the backup 88, eh, Greg?
Last time I tried to get caught between the doorpost and that size 12 seat you have in there. We're going to have to extend that at about 18.5 inches first.
Yeah. No.
That's why they make quarter powers, right?
Yeah, not that big.
That was my favorite thing, with me being so small that I was the only person that could drive my car.
And I guess I'll ask this too, because Kody, you've worked with Brooke and you've worked with Dylan. They've come a long way in the last couple of years as drivers. What do you think of the two kids sitting in the PPM cars?
Oh, they've grown up so much. I mean, last winter I didn't get to spend much time up there with COVID and everything, and Greg was sending me pictures, and Dylan's double my size now, and so is Brooke. But in a race car, you look at Brooke last year, you wouldn't believe how much how much better they've gotten. It's just, even Dylan this year testing with Braden and that, and I seen him in Riverside, and he's going to be a threat in Riverside too. He was very fast, and he's been a threat in Scotia, and Greg, keep the wheels on Brooke's car. She'll be the threat too. And but no, when we get Sydney underway here, you got to watch out for them too. They got a lot of laps there, and they've grown up a lot, and they're definitely people to be looking out for.
Now, before we let you go, I know, is Brandon still on? Oh, Brandon left. We're good.
And Tim.
What?
I forgot that Corey races pro stock now, so he's my pick for Riverside.
Corey's not on the entry list though.
He probably will be there.
Okay, well we'll have to see if we can get that 83 car over to Riverside. Sponsors on your car and crew on your car, because I know at some points you're thrashing on that race car alone at the racetrack, but I know you don't do it alone. Who makes it happen for you?
I got Candy with Northside Tax. Anything I need, I just give her a holler, and she's there to support me and the track. I've got David Mackley with Steel and Mackley Equipment. I've got, of course, Greg himself. He's always there for anything I need as well. The mechanic side of it and the support, Josh Banak does everything for me. Whether it's, he goes to an 8-hour shift at work and then a 4-hour shift for me. So, and then I had Brendan McGinnis help me a lot the last couple months, and he's good. And obviously the girls are there to support, and it's there's a lot more than them. I just can't really think of them. But everybody stops by the C-Can, and shoot the shit and work on the car and have a good laugh. I got a big following and lots of people support me with my car, and hopefully it's good for the future.
So now that you're going to go to Riverside on the weekend and not going to get that $1,000 to win and pick up, a couple of nice gifts for the girlfriend, when's the next time we're going to see you race? Is it going to be August 7th in Miramichi?
The following weekend at the tour race in Petty.
The boss has spoken.
Yeah. So I guess that's what it is. I guess. Yeah.
I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Whatever he says, right?
Yeah. I'm definitely rusty in Legend. I got to get a couple laps in, but no, I'm game for anything.
Just like riding a bike, right?
And then also we got the remember the mini stock race in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic there. Remember the Honda I showed you the picture of? We got that set aside for a little March break run. So don't book a Winter Blast date on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, you might not see me for 660. I'll probably be in jail.
I thought you were racing bikes or something down there. What happened? How did this mini stock thing come across?
No, I've been researching it steady because I said I got down there. We're gonna find some racing, and when they were actually Hondas racing in this class, I said this is the perfect deal. And I think I mentioned to you, Tim, about getting sharp on your Spanish, so when you announce the race and a little bit of tequila, and we can have that coming out of you.
A little bit of tequila, there'd be a lot going on. I'm pretty sure. This has been fun, boys. Kody, thank you for joining us. We'll see you. We'll see you this weekend, but we won't see you on the racetrack until apparently next weekend. So enjoy the weekend off.
Yeah. And actually, the two gentlemen there, yourself, Tim, a lot of people didn't realize that when I first took over this deal, we ate a lot of meals and we spent a lot of time on the phone, and you were definitely one that helped me behind the scenes. And, probably I told a few people that, but probably not on the air. And I mean, I really appreciate all the help you've done and helped me with the scheduling and all the different things and payouts. And again, Kody himself, definitely countless hours, definitely owe you two a lot in the future. And when you need to lean on me for something, I'll definitely be there for the both of you. And I'm very appreciative of all the things you helped me with.
Well, if there's food, Kody, I'm there, right?
When are we going to Brewster's next?
Whenever you're down here. Wait, you haven't been to an upstreet feed with us though, so that's probably the next thing on the list.
That's when you get the meat sweats.
Yeah, well, yeah, we've had a couple of. Kody's been to Texas. He's done Hard 8, I'm sure. So we're gonna have to book this at some point and try to get our travels together. And I know I've got Legend Car Nationals currently penciled in. Don't tell Barry and them I'm missing a race up there, but that might be something that we look forward to. But boys, this has been fun. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you. If we don't see you this weekend, we'll see you next at Petty International for the Maritime League of Legends Tour race.
Sounds good.
Yep. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks.
Coming up this weekend, Riverside International Speedway, Denver. I know you're still on vacation, but you'll be able to see it on Tim's Corner Live or Tim's Corner TV this weekend. Are you excited for that?
That is so exciting, Tim. It's Riverside. Well, it doesn't get bigger than this. So on Tim's Corner TV, East Coast International Pro Stock Tour Parts for Trucks 150 at Riverside. Everyone should be tuning into this. If you have plans on Saturday, you need to figure out a way. If you're on a boat, get a TV on a boat, hook up the internet, and watch this race. You're not going to want to miss it.
If you're at Petty Raceway, as long as your internet will allow you, because the infrastructure is not great up there, timscorner.tv, sign up. We will have the passes available, I believe, beginning tomorrow. And, of course, Scotia Speed World on Friday night as well with the CarStar Weekly Racing Series. Going to be a big show there as well. Want to thank all of our marketing partners for coming on board and supporting everything that we do here on Tim's Corner Live and Tim's Corner TV, KCP, LJ Design, St. Louis Bar and Grill. The rest of them are listed there on the screen. Gentlemen, that's it's a little bit shorter than what we usually do, but it was a jam-packed night, busy night. And we get ready for this weekend, Riverside International Speedway on Saturday. Dylan, I know you're excited to get back to the High Banks.
I get a whole lot of Tim Terry this weekend. We get to hang out on Friday, and then we get to hang out on Saturday. But we've only seen each other once pretty much the past 7 months because of COVID.
We're going to see each other twice. You're coming Friday night, right?
That's what I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Friday at Scotia and then Riverside.
Yeah. Are you going to wear the shirt?
Yes.
Perfect.
I made the bet online. I'm going to wear my fancy schmancy racing shirt.
A man of the people. I love it.
That's right.
Yeah, so be a part of the show Friday night. If you can't be at Scotia Speed World, be sure to log on to Tim's Corner TV and be a part of it there. Denver, you're still on vacation-ish?
I wouldn't call it vacation, but I had an off week last week. Potentially might end up at Petty Raceway on Saturday. We'll see.
If you caught the top of the show, Brittany told me you're just staying away from me, which, I mean, that's what Brittany's doing this weekend. She had too much of me last weekend, so that's what she's doing this weekend. So
we love Brittany's sarcasm.
We learned not to give her a microphone on Friday nights. We learned that.
So is that the end of her co-hosting days? Did she just get totally cut off then and there?
I asked her to do it in Fredericton, and she said no. So I never asked her to extend the invite again. So who really knows? But
good question. I thought she was supposed to bring you a nice green shirt here before long.
Well, the tour forgot mine, so somebody may as well bring me a shirt.
I gave you this PPM one. You better have on.
I actually do have it behind me, Greg. So we might throw that on for the weekend if the tour doesn't get me anything. But it's a busy weekend. And you mentioned Petty. Petty has a 1,000 to win legend car race, metal core, DR scrap metal, Night of Destruction, mini stocks, bandoleros. There's a Guy Meister's going to be there with the sheriff. If you're in Moncton, get to the racetrack. Shediac has a show on Sunday, and I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, Denver and Dylan, but was talking to Tim Weil this week, and if Riverside goes well, I may head up there and watch some racing on Sunday, because I was told last weekend I should have been there by a bunch of people, and I wasn't there, and now they're not going back on Sunday, so we're going to have a little conversation with somebody in Fredericton, but that's beyond the point. Hopefully be there this weekend to enjoy and support Greg and Tim and Tom and everybody there at the Shediac Center for Speed. Oyster Bed's running on Saturday night. Lake Dowsett's running on Sunday. Obviously Riverside on Saturday. And of course, Scotia Speed World on Friday night. So it's a busy schedule. Summer has now begun. Get out to a racetrack and enjoy what we can for this summer of 2021. It's going to be fun. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fun Friday night. Scotia Speed World, Saturday, Riverside. Get out. I think there was 8 tickets left when we came on air tonight. They're probably already sold out. So listen live on timscorner.ca/listen live, or listen to us or watch us on Tim's Corner TV.
You need to watch us. It's going to be the first live stream event at Riverside with this since the Pinty series was here in 2019. We got the Pro Stocks, got the Sportsman, the NAPA Sportsman series put out their projected list for entry. And that's going to grow a little bit. And it looks like well over 15 cars at least will be there. So hopefully we reach over 20. And then with the Heart of a Champion Hot Rod Classics and the Anchor Toyota 20, we've got cars making their debut this weekend. Stacy Clements has a beautiful tribute car to Junior Hanley. Give them a like on Facebook, Heart of a Champion, because they posted a promo video of this car. It's going to look some sweet on Saturday on the high banks at Riverside.
Yeah, that's the Ricky McFetridge, Stacy Clements put together deal, and it's great to see. And former Pro Stock ride there turned into a vintage car. That's going to be fun to see on the high banks. But I think that's the Brian Northrup show, right, Greg?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's taking from the back, though. He's starting from the back. I don't know what that decision.
Yeah, we'll get him to the front of the field. I'm sure he'll get up on the wheel and have a good time. But once again, timscorner.tv, Friday, Saturday, join us. And the next Wednesday, we'll be back again. And it's becoming busy. We mentioned the Maritime League of Legends Tour coming up 2 weeks' time at Petty. Maritime Pro Stock Tour going to be there as well. Denver, I know you guys have a doubleheader at 660 in 2 weeks' time with the Atlantic Modified Tour. It's busy. Summer is happening. Get to the racetrack, enjoy some racing, and support your local racetracks. And if you're in Sydney, once again, congratulations to Lyndon McDougall and Kyle McKinnon for getting on board with that racetrack. And can't wait to see what they can do with it up there. That's going to do it for us tonight. Big thank you to Paul Strickland Jr. Brandon Campbell was here earlier. Brittany Hoyt is among the missing. Hopefully she's okay after taking that hit a couple of weeks ago. She still said she was sore at Scotia. She was still milking it. But thank her for all the work that she did this weekend, along with Norm and the rest of the crew, Greg and Morgan, and excited to have them back this weekend at Scotia Speed World. For Denver Match at Dylan Langell, my name is Tim Terry. We will see you next time when we say let's go racing. Until then, and keep the hammer down, and we'll see you at the track.